5, 4, 3, 2. And we're live, coming to you from an undisclosed location somewhere in Northeast Ohio. I'm Josh McClay, aka O'Malley of O'Malley's Adventure. That's Jamie Slutz, City Council at Large, and this is O'Malley Live. I want to thank everybody for joining, whether you're watching live or in post. If you need to contact the show, drop something in the comment or chat, and we will try to get to your question if time permits. Jamie Slutz, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. So you're on city council now, right? So give people a little bit of background to who you are and what you've done leading up to this.
I'm a lifelong resident of Massillon, born and raised. Lived in Ward 1, northeast end of Massillon my entire life.
Okay.
I worked for the city, for the police department for 22 plus years, retired in 2019. I enjoyed my job. I felt like I was giving back to my community.
Mm-hmm.
And when I retired, I just felt like I wanted to continue to give back. You know, I coached football, coached basketball, coached baseball my entire life, my entire adult life.
Right.
And I still do. I still coach football, coach my daughter's softball team.
Nice.
So, you know, I still feel like I'm giving back, but it was just a small group of people. I want to give back to the entire city. I love Massillon.
Right.
I mean, I don't think you'll find anybody that loves Massillon more than I do.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not.
So when I had heard Nancy Harder resigned,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I called Mark Lombardi, our Ward 1 councilman. I said, hey, how do I put my name in the hat for this?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, are you serious? I go, yes, I'm 100% serious.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and last Tuesday I was appointed, and I couldn't be happier.
Right.
You know, I feel like I'm home. I'm giving back. I continue to give back, and,
Sure.
and I want to see everybody be happy. And
So is there one thing, like, before you become a cop or before you got on council that sort of clued you in that you were meant for service as far as, you know, for Massillon?
well, when I was a young man, when I was a teenager, you know, when you reach that point in your life and you're like, man, what am I going to do with my life?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I always, my dad had a friend, his best friend was Sam Spagocci.
Yeah.
He was a captain on the police department, and he used to drive through the back alley when I'd be playing basketball and stop and talk to me, and I said, that's what I want to do. And I did it.
Right. Straight out of high school?
Well, I went to college
Right.
for a few years, and then I thought, I checked into it, and they said, well, you need to go to the police academy. So I went to the police academy, and everything kind of fell into place from there.
Sweet. So then the motivation to be on council was just an extension of giving services.
Yeah, I mean, police officers, they're always, you know, at least for myself, I can't speak for everybody, but, you know, I always felt like I was giving back. Sorry. You know, I always was involved in the city,
Right.
you know, coaching, and I was always involved in doing something with the city, and you know, I was glad to be a police officer, and you know, that kind of just rolled right into. I think city council is just kind of an extension of what I did my entire life, my entire career.
Sure. So a couple of the topics that are going to be discussed. The hospital closed. Apparently, it is changing hands. I read that in the paper, I believe,
Yes.
yesterday. What's your thoughts on the hospital?
Well, it's a shame that the hospital closed,
Yeah.
but I believe that it's out of everybody's hands. We can't make people invest their money in something that they don't feel like they're going to get any return from. So,
Sure.
you know, it was, I guess, in the best interest of the city, from what I understand,
Right.
you know, or the people involved to close the hospital. So,
Sure. It's a growing trend as far as, because when the hospital closed, I actually got involved in the group of people that was in that. And apparently, just opening up more of like a boutique style hospital, these little smaller versions versus a full scale hospital. isn't just something that was specific to Massillon. That was something that was coming. It was just a matter of when.
Right.
And
Speaking of that, though, there's some great nurses. I mean, you have
yes,
to tip your hats to those ladies and men.
yes,
You know, my wife's a nurse. One of my best friends, a nurse.
right.
You know, I chaperoned the Washington, D.C. trip through the police department for 22 years.
Mm-hmm.
And we take nurses from the hospital. And,
Sure.
man, they do a tremendous job.
Yep. My mother-in-law, my current mother-in-law, she was a nurse for the open heart surgeon there.
Okay.
Yeah. So yes, a very specific breed of human being
I tip
that
my
you
hat
have
to them.
right that you have to have.
Yes.
So, let's move to the reservoir. Okay, that's
I love the reservoir. I grew up playing at the reservoir.
Sure.
I grew up by the hospital on the east side of the hospital on Commonwealth. So, and then I bought a house right around the corner. I lived there for 20 years, and then I just moved up off of Wales Road.
Mhm.
So that's where I grew up. We'd always go fishing at the reservoir. We'd, run the halls at the hospital when we were kids.
Right.
I'd fly kites in the parking lot at the hospital, and security would chase us out of there because
Sure.
they didn't want us to get hit by cars. And but I got a kite 200 feet in the air, and I go okay, and but I mean, that's where I grew up.
So with the resi, would you like to see it be restored to what it was, or are you happy with its current state?
Well, I mean, we'd all love to see it restored back to the way it was, but I'm not sure that's possible.
Mm-hmm.
With the waterfalls, and
Mm-hmm.
they had to tear those down a few years ago and reduce them, and
Right.
But I would like to see something happen with the reservoir, and I believe Steve Pedros,
Yeah.
he has plans for that,
Sure.
and we just have to wait and see what happens.
Right. The people generally, especially come election time, that people will move into that sort of direction. It'll go cold for months, and then the next thing you know, you'll see something in the paper or whatnot. I'm kind of hoping, because now that if I'm not mistaken, they tore a level off, and now that it's that low, if you keep it within a certain size, that will keep DNR out of the equation as far as natural resources and government extra people coming in and telling you what you can and can't have.
Right.
So, but we'll see. And again, come election time, I think people are going to move. It'll resurface. Well, my next question is going to be animal control, and that started last election cycle with I just went brain dead. Jason Harris.
Okay.
And what's your thoughts on animal control?
I think the city needs that.
Okay.
Vicki Davis, the last animal control officer we had, she
Mhm.
did a tremendous job. Tremendous. She was busy, just as busy as some of the police officers in the city, but, she did a lot as far as taking care of people's animals that maybe couldn't afford to buy straw for their dogs while they're, during the winter times while they're outside. And but it's something that I believe the city needs.
Yeah. Do you think it should be a police officer, or do you think it should be an independent person?
I don't think it should be a police officer. I mean,
Okay.
police officers have their hands full with everything else that's going on
Sure.
today, but I think Mark Lombardi and Jim Thread are kind of pushing that, I believe.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great idea. I think it's something that Massillon needs.
Okay. Future streetscape projects. Is that something that you would entertain, or do you think what we have is enough?
Well, if it's gonna make Massillon better, I'm all for making Massillon better.
Sure.
I mean, things change, people change. Massillon's got to keep up with the times and change. And
Right.
if it's going to make sense for the city and make sense for the people,
Sure.
then I'm all for it.
Okay. November, next election cycle. Are you gonna run for council, or are you just filling it temporarily?
No, I pulled a petition. I I was required to get 50 signatures.
Okay.
You know, I have well over 50 signatures, and I'm actually probably going to turn that in hopefully this week, if not this week, next week, to the Board of Elections. So, no, I plan on being around a while.
I was going to say, you know, something that I think I can talk about this. Years ago, you talked about running for office, and everybody kind of was like, "You're going to run for office?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to run for office." Well, here we are. I know it was 15 years ago, maybe longer, but yeah. So, you do have a future in Massillon politics, then.
I love Massillon. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. I love the people of Massillon, and I don't care where you come from, where you live, who you are. I love you. That's the truth. I love everybody. I love Massillon. I love the city. I love the people. I love the traditions.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I've been joking about running for mayor and things like that since I've been in high school.
Right.
And I'm 50 years old, so I mean that's been a while ago. But
Right.
you know, all my friends would always say, "Oh, you ought to run for mayor someday." And I'm not saying I'm running for mayor anytime soon.
Right.
But that's always been the joke.
Sure.
The guys at the police department, the fire department.
Right.
You know, I would go down. I go to the street department, talk to everybody, and joke around. And I try to get along with everybody. And you know that we joke about that, but I mean, you never know what the future holds.
Right. Absolutely. Well, you know what? 10, 15 years ago, if you'd have said, "Hey, you and I are going to sit down and we're going to talk about me running for council at large," I'd have told you were nuts.
Right. Right. You
And
just never know.
And here we are.
Right.
Here we are. Anyway, do you have anything else you want to put out there?
No. I mean, I love Massillon. You know, just I'm glad to be a part of this, and I'm learning from all the other councilmen and councilwomen,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, I'm just gonna hopefully learn from them and be a better person and be a better councilman
Sure.
and learn the ropes, I guess, a little bit.
Well, I open this up to anybody. Anytime you want to come back, just text me, email me, whatnot. You can come on, and the idea is to have a way to put information out, so
Right.
the door's always open. And I do want to say, I'm not going to give away what it is, but usually when people come on, they add to that wall, okay? And before we come online, we're talking, there's going to be something in this area right here that everybody needs to pay attention, because the next time that I have somebody here in the seat, you're going to see that picture. Anyway, that's all I got. Is that all you got?
That's all I have. I love you, Massillon. Thank you for letting me do this.
And that's it for Omally Live. Until next time, stay sharp, keep a tight shot group, and rock on.